The Anxiety and Phobia Workbook by Edmund J. Bourne. Anxiety can feel like a relentless companion, whispering worries and fueling fears at every turn. The Anxiety and Phobia Workbook opens by helping the reader recognize that anxiety, though common, can become overwhelming when unaddressed. In the introduction, Bourne gently reassures that anxiety disorders are not personal failings and that change is possible. He frames the workbook as a collaborative journey. You, the reader, actively engage with exercises, self-assessments, and reflections to build insight and develop coping strategies tailored to your unique experience. Chapter 1 immerses you in the landscape of anxiety disorders, describing how pervasive worry and generalized anxiety disorder differs from the sudden, overwhelming surge of panic attacks. Social anxiety's intense fear of judgment and specific phobias' crippling avoidance are all laid out with real-life examples. Rather than medical jargon, Bourne uses simple language to explain how these conditions manifest, from racing thoughts to physical symptoms like trembling or heart palpitations, emphasizing the shared thread of fear that underlies each disorder. In Chapter 2, you explore why anxiety arises in the first place. Through clear, conversational prose, you learn about genetic influences, how family history can predispose you, and brain chemistry imbalances amplifying the fight-or-flight response. Personality traits such as perfectionism or high sensitivity are examined alongside life events, from childhood stress to traumatic incidents. Bourne's tone is compassionate, reminding you that understanding these roots is not about blame, but about shedding light on why anxiety feels so powerful. Chapter 3 lays out the blueprint for recovery, stressing that no single technique suffices. Instead, you're invited to blend physical, cognitive, emotional, and behavioral strategies. Bourne paints a holistic picture. Regular exercise, sound nutrition, and good sleep habits form the foundation, while relaxation practices, thought-challenging exercises, and gradual exposure build resilience. The chapter underscores consistency and patience, likening progress to learning any new skill. You'll advance with practice and support. 4. Through flowing paragraphs, you're guided step by step into diaphragmatic breathing, where slow, deep breaths engage the body's natural calming system. Progressive muscle relaxation unfolds as you learn to tense and release each muscle group, noticing tension melting away. Guided imagery invites you to conjure peaceful scenes, an ocean shoreline or a quiet forest, encouraging the senses to anchor you in the present and buffer the mind against anxious spirals. Physical exercise, tackled in Chapter 5, is presented not as a chore but as a powerful anxiety antidote. Bourne describes how even moderate activities, brisk walking, swimming, or yoga, trigger endorphin releases that elevate mood and regulate stress hormones. He provides practical tips on setting realistic goals, fitting movement into busy schedules, and finding enjoyable forms of exercise. Emphasis is placed on listening to your body, recognizing that consistency and variety help maintain motivation and prevent burnout. Chapter 6 addresses panic attacks head-on, demystifying their sudden onset and intense physical sensations. You learn to spot early warning signs, like tingling or lightheadedness, and employ ground-level strategies, focused breathing, labeling sensations, this is panic, not a heart attack, and using affirmations to counter catastrophic thinking. Bourne weaves in case vignettes showing gradual mastery. Each panic episode becomes an opportunity to practice skills rather than proof of impending disaster. Exposure therapy takes the spotlight in Chapter 7. Bourne invites you to list feared situations from mild, holding a bug, to extreme, entering a spider-infested room. Each paragraph walks you through building a fear hierarchy and tackling items one rung at a time, blending imagination exercises with real-life practice. The text emphasizes patience. Progress may feel slow, but consistently facing fears in controlled doses weakens avoidance patterns and builds confidence. In Chapter 8, you uncover the power of self-talk. Through conversational examples, you observe how internal dialogue can spiral. I'll embarrass myself, or soothe. I've handled this before. Exercises prompt you to catch negative thoughts, record them, and craft balanced alternatives. By revisiting these reframed statements regularly, you begin rewiring thought patterns, noticing over time that calmer inner narratives lead to calmer emotional states. Chapter 9 digs deeper into core, often hidden beliefs about safety, control, or self-worth that fuel anxiety. Bourne's language remains accessible as he guides you to uncover should statements and black and white thinking. Reflective journal prompts help expose beliefs like, I must never feel anxious, or others must approve of me. And you learn gentle techniques to test and question these rigid views, creating room for more flexible, realistic perspectives. Personality styles that perpetuate anxiety take center stage in Chapter 10. Bourne describes how traits like perfectionism drive chronic worry, while an intolerance of uncertainty creates mental gridlock. Through narrative explanations and case stories, you see how these styles develop, often as early coping mechanisms, and why they backfire long term. Exercises then encourage small shifts, setting good enough standards or embracing the unknown step by step, breaking patterns of overcontrol. Chapter 11 delves into 10 common phobias, from heights to flying to enclosed spaces. Each fear is described in a short vignette, highlighting how avoidance reinforces anxiety. Tailored exposure tactics follow, guiding you to imagine, plan, and then practice confronting these fears in ascending order of difficulty. As you apply these methods, the narrative shows how repeated, safe encounters weaken the phobic response. In Chapter 12, you explore emotional awareness. Bourne emphasizes that burying or denying feelings often intensifies them. Through descriptive passages, you learn to name emotions accurately, distinguishing anger from frustration, sadness from disappointment, and to express them through writing or calm conversation. This emotional literacy reduces internal tension and fosters healthier connections with others. Assertiveness is the focus of Chapter 13. Bourne paints scenarios where anxiety disrupts communication, saying yes when you mean no, or avoiding requests for help. He then outlines in clear prose the steps of assertive communication, stating facts, expressing feelings, and asking for specific outcomes. Role-play exercises encourage you to practice in low-stakes settings, reinforcing that respectful boundary setting alleviates social anxiety and builds mutual respect. Low self-esteem often underpins anxiety. Chapter 14 addresses this through self-compassion and positive self-statements. Bourne emphasizes practical exercises, listing personal strengths, recalling past successes, and challenging self-criticism. Through gentle narratives, he shows how shifting from a critical inner voice to an encouraging one not only reduces worry, but also inspires proactive problem-solving. Nutrition's impact on mood unfolds in Chapter 15. You're walked through how blood sugar dips can trigger jitteriness, why caffeine may amplify anxiety, and how certain vitamins and minerals support nervous system health. Practical tips on balanced meals, mindful eating, and hydration emerge organically, helping you see diet changes as part of a broader self-care routine rather than restrictive rules. Chapter 16 underscores the importance of ruling out medical issues that mimic anxiety, thyroid imbalances, heart arrhythmias, or vitamin deficiencies. Bourne urges collaboration with healthcare providers, describing common tests and what they evaluate. The message is clear. Awareness of physical health conditions ensures that psychological interventions are applied effectively and safely. Medication options are examined in Chapter 17 with candor and clarity. Bourne outlines classes of anxiolytics and antidepressants, their mechanisms, typical dosages, and possible side effects. Through balanced discussion, you learn to weigh benefits against risks, ask informed questions of your prescriber, and recognize that medication can be a valuable adjunct when combined with therapeutic strategies. Meditation takes the stage in Chapter 18, beginning with brief mindfulness practices you can do anywhere, focused attention on breath, body scans, or mindful walking. Bourne's tone is reassuring, acknowledging initial restlessness and guiding gentle persistence. Over time, these practices cultivate a non-judgmental stance toward thoughts and sensations, diminishing anxiety's grip. Chapter 19 introduces the concept of observing anxiety from a distance. Through rich descriptions, you learn to notice anxious thoughts as passing clouds rather than truths demanding action. Exercises in cognitive diffusion and mindful observation help create mental space, allowing you to choose responses rather than react habitually. Chapter 20 invites you to discover personal meaning. Bourne weaves narratives about values, passion projects, and community involvement, showing how purposeful engagement can shift focus away from anxiety. Reflective questions guide you to identify what matters most: relationships, creativity, service, and to align daily actions with these values, fostering resilience and fulfillment beyond mere symptom relief. In conclusion, this workbook offers a compassionate, multifaceted roadmap out of anxiety's grip. By steadily working through each chapter's paragraphs, absorbing concepts, practicing exercises, and reflecting on insights, you build a personalized toolkit for calmer, more empowered living. That's it for now. Please let us know in the comments what you learned from this video. Thanks for your time. See you later.